thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll have lots of the things that need to be protested against. I think the one main thing, for me personally, I think the one main thing that needs to be addressed right now in 2017, what's remaining of that, and well into 2018, is killing racism. I think once we get rid of this killing racism and having equality about everybody feels good about themselves, not acceptance. It ain't a diversity type of thing anymore. It's not getting the numbers into the organization. We need to have this many black, this many women, this many white. It's not that anymore. It's an inclusion type of thing. People need to be feeling as though they're welcome when they go into new environments and stuff. Not welcome because of their color, not welcome because of their origin, not welcome because of whether they're man or woman, just because they're a person and they're new on the scene. They come in there and it's like, I have something to offer, you know, and they should be able to feel comfortable within themselves to be able to offer that thing that they have to offer. But that's not happening.
No.
People come in there with predisposed ideas. Black people coming to get a job working in a high-end institution. The first thing, nobody's going to like me because I'm black, so I'm going to have to be doing this all by myself, and then I'm going to have to do it twice as good as anybody else. It's like, what? You know, do your job, and then people should
But
just
see, you say do your job. That's the catchy. That's the secret
Yeah.
to it all. Is I remember way back when we used to be protesting. It was there's no job to do. When you protesting, a peaceful protest right now is more like a pep rally. Like back in the days, a protest had an agenda. It had demands that you had to meet, or there was going to be consequences. Now people just protest to protest. So just it's just let's gather people up. To the latest one was in the Boston Common for the KKK, and I'm like, all right, so what are people in opposed to the KKK going to do? Are we going to go out here and kill people now, or get killed because of the KKK? And it's like, I remember when the young kid got killed by Zimmerman, and Michael Brown got shot, and we were protesting out here, and the demands weren't even being
conveyed.
There was a group giving out demands saying, listen, this is what we're supposed to do. But not only were they not being conveyed, they weren't being done. They weren't, trying to get anything out of it, but let me be seen protesting instead of what am I protesting for, and how do I get something done?
Right.
So when troops say do a job, that means we actually have to do some work, and that means we gotta one, sacrifice time, sweat equity to get something done. And nobody wants to do that. Who wants to do that now?
Those are things that they can't be done if you don't know where you're going. You can't invest your time in something that's going to be so sporadic that it's all over the place. It's like, where's my time being used? It's not being used. You didn't have to be there all this while just sitting down there doing nothing. You have to be able to be doing something. And the inclusiveness now, we're not. This is only what I feel. Like I said, we're not all about this diversity any longer, about getting in there, getting our way, and we should be seen as and stuff.
Who's we?
I'm talking about any kind of ethnic organization. They said we should have this, or we should be having this, and we should be seen like this, and that the white people, because they're in the majority, they should understand us better and all that. That diversity type of stuff didn't work. It's like move on.
Yeah. That's past. Yeah. That's in the past right now.
The inclusiveness that you feel within yourself, it's like, I don't care what you're doing. I'm here to do what I got to do and take care of the business at hand that I have to take care of the business at hand. If you're at a protest and you're protesting something, protest that. Don't protest all this other stuff that's all over the place, and then measure the effect of the protest because the majority group applauded. Like,
Yeah.
you know, what? You didn't get anything.
No, you just
you know, you
well,
didn't
you
bring
got
anything.
you got like I said, it's different. So they say to be trained to be a leader is more fun than actually being a leader.
Being a leader's
So,
high.
and that's doing. Once you're that leader, now you're appointed this position, and you don't even really know how to lead. You know,
No.
so it got a lot to do with doing. You know, everybody wants to be a leader. Everybody wants to be so-called alpha male, but you're not leading nobody. You're not leading anybody nowhere but to hate, but to do nothing but see how different and common we are with negativity. There's no positive. There's no love. There's no, celebrating uniqueness. And even still with the protest. So we go back, and I like what you say, you don't know where you're going. If you don't know where you came from, how you know where you're going? So you
don't know where you
understand
come from, no.
Selma. So Selma, they had a blueprint for that. They were going to get beat up by police, and they let people know. The disclaimer is don't march in Selma if you're scared to get hit and knocked out. So people lost their lives, and people went out there with an agenda. And look what happened. They said, listen, they don't want to meet our needs. We're going to hit them where it hurts. Is we're going to boycott. So it was a plan to say, all right, let's stop their money.
But see, what you're doing is what's been done all along for many years. You're highlighting the actions. The thing in Selma was about civil rights is the big thing.
The big picture.
That's what they were aiming at. Their aim was civil rights. These were just actions that had to be
Right, that led
know.
to it. Steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, they don't have that now.
And that's what I'm saying. There's no steps.
There's no
It's
steps.
just
There's
civil
no
rights.
There's no big
Well,
action.
I would say the action.
I think
have
it's
to
reversed.
say-
I think there's steps. I just think there's no direct. There's
What's the
no. There's no.
steps?
There's no goal.
There's no goal.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's no big action towards the end.
You're right. Because it's gays want to march for gays. It's blacks want to march for blacks. It's what is it? Police violence want to be police violence. It's not. Let's
Hunger
all
wants
put
to
this.
be for hunger.
Yeah. It's not all.
It's all schizophrenic.
Yeah, it's not. Let's make this a better world. Let's make this a better place
That's
for
why I say,
everyone. It's
if
like
they pick a topic, and I think a very main and very topic that's been worked to death enough so that everybody understands it. Everybody got an idea of what everybody else thinks about it, and that's racism. Now work towards the end goal. The end goal is eliminating racism, not getting other people to identify and say, oh, you're black, so I used to think you were a bad person, but now I understand that you're a good person because I'm a white person and I know that, you're not like me, but you're still a good. What the hell is that?
yeah.
Right. I don't know.
But
What
see,
is that?
that's why it's so.
Yeah.
That's why it's so hard for me to view racism as a topic because at the end of the day, if it's not systemically, what you think is what you think.
But
what-
that's the whole thing. It's like, get rid of it. That's the end goal.
I don't think you can
need-
get rid of it. I think it's too big. I think it's too big of a
How
problem,
is it
too
big of a
complex.
problem? What's the problem behind racism?
One of the problems is that there's many black people who don't believe racism exists.
That's good.
Exists today.
Exists today. When you
Well,
have
how you define racism. Then?
right. So how do we define racism? That's the first thing. We don't even have it like universally
a universal
defined.
definition. Yeah.
So that's why it's hard to defeat something when you don't know exactly what the enemy is, what the target is, and then when you don't have people, when everybody has different opinions on how to do it, it just kind of like reminds me of a group I was in. Everybody had their own idea of how it was supposed to work and how it was supposed to be done, and it ended up becoming the downfall of it because everybody wanted to be a chief, and nobody wanted to
be a leader. To be a leader, you have what they say: to whom much is given, much is required. So, you want to be a leader, you're required to do more than just bring your thoughts to the table. Bring some facts. Bring some research.
You're gonna be a leader. You lead.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what you do. So you want to accumulate the facts from the people that you're leading to. So with your example of that, there's a whole bunch of different understandings of racism.
Right.
Bring them all to the table.
Yep.
That's what you do. That's how you get rid of it.
Yep.
And don't bring them to the table that we're going to bring them to the table to satisfy some white concept of racism because
To help them understand.
No, yeah, to help them understand.
No, you
It's
need to
like,
understand.
No, yeah, you need to feel first. If you're the person who's being affected by the results of racism, even if you believe in your heart you are and you're not, then bring that to the table so that you know what you want. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So if the majority comes to the table and the majority person comes to the table, they're going to come with a whole different idea of what racism is than the person who's in the
yeah,
minority.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So these two don't have to ever come together,
No,
but they have to
gotta
understand
yes.
what racism is on their level
and
then
on another level, yeah.
and on another level. Down here, for me, what I see, I understand now the biggest stick that racism has for the minority down here is their own self-worth. They don't feel as though they're as good as the people in the majority.
That's always the argument.
So you get rid of that.
It's
You
unfair.
accept, yeah.
It's unfair. It's
Yeah.
not equal. It's
So
not an equal
First you
playing field.
develop your self-worth down here. Now you're feeling good about yourself. Then you realize, what the hell I care about this person in the first place? You know, so it doesn't matter. But if you're not going to do that, if you're just going to sit back and find all little bitty words and things just to say that all they're doing is justifying your sense of lack of self-worth, then that's all you're going to come away with.
So the bottom line is one of the best ways to combat racism is to love yourself. I
Exactly.
agree. I
Yeah.
agree
To
100%.
combat racism.
Is to
To
love
love
yourself
yourself.
Yeah,
and
okay.
know that yourself is valuable. You're more valuable than what another person's opinion on you is.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, and then you enjoy your life.
All right.
Because I've heard Troop say it before. The only time we talk about the black being unfair is in the criminal system. So if you could stay out of crime and be a
Oh, yeah.
law-abiding citizen, then you really don't have to worry about that justice system snatching you up.
Or we do silly things like that. Somebody posted the thing about the Las Vegas killing. Well, you know, if it was a black man, what do you say?
It would be a war zone.
It'd be a war zone.
Yep.
It's like, what does that got to do with
Anything, nothing. If
You know?
there's no ifs, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
crazy.
you really hate yourself that much that in the wake of all this pain and anguish that people are feeling, you still have to victimize yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
Speaking
what's up
of
with that?
speaking of Las Vegas, the texter wants to know what do you think about Trump's response to Las Vegas versus his response to Puerto Rico?
I don't know what his response was. What was his response? He didn't want to send aid to Puerto Rico. Now, natural disaster
Right.
happens.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico has been trying their hardest to get away from America. You get that, right? They have been trying to get their own independence because they stand to gain more from tourism and being a place that they can be independent than to be what it is right now is it's the government's bomb zone. So that's bad because you keep going there to experiment bombs, but when something goes on down there, you don't send them any aid. Which I think a direct reason why it hit them so hard was because of all the radioactive stuff that goes on down there. And I think if you could look at the globe, you know we're closer to trees, we're closer to Canada, we're closer to more greenery than they are down there. So you see how they get hit the most because of the temperature, you know, because of what the nature, the atmosphere. And he didn't want to send any help. And I think that's, you know, but that's the leader. And he surely shown that job, it was too hard for him. He wanted to be in that position, but wasn't ready for the title that the position held. So, but what was his response to Vegas? Vegas is mental health. That's something else. Trump has all power to say executive orders. Let's stop putting these people with mental health issues out here on these streets. Let's stop being shiesty about the funds to help. First responders, FEMA. And this is I don't get it. I don't get it. I know the back end of that is he stands to make money with Russia somehow.
So the phone. So the response to Vegas. I think the texter was talking about the Vegas shooting.
What was his response?
His response to the Vegas shooting was they had a 5-minute moment of silence, and he's he was sorrowful. He said, "God bless to the people who were, who lost their lives and the people who were affected by this senseless tragedy." His response to Puerto Rico was he lifted the law that other countries can't,
Jones law.
the zones law, and isn't it zoning law?
They don't let the other countries can't bring their products in there.
Right. So he lifted that, but the criticism on Trump's response to Puerto Rico was that it took too long. Was that he didn't do as much as he could have done early enough.
That's a retrospective view of something like that. For me,
What do you mean by retrospective view?
they're looking at it from it's already happened.
Yeah.
And it's over like this here, and this is what he should have done. But Puerto Rico got beat up.
Mm-hmm.
It got beat up bad. It got torn down bad. And what you really have to, I believe, you look at is the whole look at Puerto Rico. He only said one thing that made sense. Puerto Rico's an island. He didn't have to go into all the big water and all this stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's an island. Everybody know what an island is. Puerto Rico is an island. Their first reactionary group, they're a group that goes out there and does the help and everything, live there. They live on. They're the victims too. They're getting beat up just like the people that they're helping.
Yeah.
So the infrastructure there isn't right. It's not the same as Texas. It's not the same as Florida, where you got highways and you got things that can bring stuff in like this. You don't have that there.
No.
Once it got there, because it is an island, the power was knocked out. It got no power.
Mm-hmm.
Even to move the stuff around, didn't have no gas.
Yeah.
To move the trucks, to bring the stuff to places and stuff. And you just can't run into the situation and think that your magic fairy boots are going to sprinkle this dust and make every place that you go nice and clean and fresh and beautiful. No, that was an area this area got hit bad twice. Mother Nature beat it up, and then time beat it up. It's going to take time for them to be able to respond, because you just can't go in this and look at the map and say, all right, you take 10 trucks and go up Highway 67 and then deposit all the stuff up here. Highway 67 is under what?
Yeah.
You get to the place over there's no electricity. The refrigeration ain't gonna work.
Couldn't get to certain
You
places.
know, it's like there's a whole lot of logistics that has to be put into place. Did Trump going to play golf? Was that the smartest thing he could do? He ain't got no brains anyway.
Yeah.
Of course not. That wasn't the smartest thing he could do. FEMA's been straight out for the last over 3 weeks. They've been straight
Month
out.
and a half.
A texter says that Puerto Rico actually voted to become the 51st state.
Yeah, they did.
They did not want to become independent.
No, they
but Puerto Rico is
From what I hear from Puerto Ricans is that they wanted to be independent.
No, they wanted to become a state.
They felt being as a state, they were promised certain things that they never got. So I'm talking about like today's Puerto Rican is saying, listen, we were better off not coming in the fold of the United States, because all this stuff that America said they promised us, we can go back and forth all day.
Yeah.
But no, they were supposed to get, banking systems, technology that would have modernized their roads and their electricity and their gas, and they got none of that.
No.
So what I'm understanding is from what the Puerto Rican now is saying is, America promised us modernization and they didn't. They kept us in, in kind of the dark, and they said, okay, we're part of the states. We can go in and out of America, but what does that do,
Well, I know one thing, in terms of Worcester and Puerto Rico, shout outs to Sarai Rivera and her people for getting a lot of supplies and doing a lot of raising and getting a lot of stuff sent down there so the people can help. I know it's happening all around the country, but
I know. I seen my man yesterday. He says that 7 of his elders are missing, and I'm like, that's crazy, But that's Mother Nature, and you pray for them. But it's like at the end of the day, I can't go back. You can
Right.
only go forwards, and all I can hope is that, like I said, my condolences to the ones who lost their loved ones. And I know when one door closes, another one opens. So I'll just pray for abundance of opportunity for Puerto Rico now going
See,
forward.
that's the whole thing. Everybody gotta give Puerto Rico time. Savai and the other groups that got that stuff down there, beautiful what they're doing, but it can't move once it gets there.
Yeah, once it gets there,
There's
they
no
can't.
gas.
Yeah, there's no way to
electricity.
move around.
Mhm.
And so things start to back up. Now you got a whole fleet of
supplies.
trucks and supplies.
And can't go. They can't be brought
And
to the places that they need to be
you
brought
got all
to.
a fleet of ships out here with supplies and stuff that can't be brought in to put on shore because there's no place to put it.
Yep.
The infrastructure in Puerto Rico needs to be. It's going to take time to get that stuff out to where.
A texter said, now they know they are not white.
Yo, that's crazy.
And they
'Cause
know they
that-
want white people there.
That's so funny because I went to a training put on by I don't even know, it was a Latin organization that was talking about
always got to come.
the Census Bureau, how they tricked Puerto Ricans and a lot of Caribbean and South American into believing they're white, how they would throw the race question before the ethnicity.
Yep.
So they would, they gotta believe they're not white now. But to be truthful, there is no more white. If you go to AmericanHeritage.com, you have some of these white people having more African in them than you do. So it's been, the secret's out of the bag. That's what I'm saying. It's 2017. So when you talk about racism, what are you talking about?
I guess some
Because
people got to learn.
What does racism, what does not being white got to do with these people hungry? I bet they're hungry, they're tired, they're wet. They're not comfortable.
But they're not
Hand them
getting. They're not
bread.
getting. So but what they learned is that you see the response that they had to Texas and the response they had to Florida was almost instant.
And you know
The
what else?
response to Puerto Rico was not instant, and
know
they're
what else
learning
Puerto
that.
Rico has?
But it's different. It was different than Texas and Florida because it's a part of the
It
United
is.
States. It got roads, it got highways, it got airspace that you can just land stuff and go get around
all
it.
kinds
And
of
that's what I'm
highways.
saying. So and that's just I can't do it right now. Is I can't be from the outside looking in and want to give you an opinion on what's going on inside because I'm not there.
And here's what else Puerto Rico. I don't know who the texter was. I don't really need to know who the texter was. But Puerto Ricans got something that the white people over here, a lot of them will never have. They're Puerto Rican. They got a culture. They got a language.
Word.
They got a connection with their heritage.
History.
They got a lot of white people over here, and it's like, okay, you're white. Oh
Right.
yeah, but I'm Irish, or German, or
something else. Yeah, you're
or
mutt.
Italian, or something else.
You don't
like
have no
this,
history, yeah.
You ain't got the history of Puerto Rico. Puerto Ricans are Puerto Ricans. They got a culture that goes back.
But
and
there
that
are
they can
light
see.
there are light skinned Puerto Ricans and
Light
dark
and
Puerto
white
Ricans
and
and a lot of them like the
Yeah, they're biased and prejudiced over.
Yep.
Within
They're
themselves,
racist too.
but
Yeah, yeah.
At the end of the day, they're still gonna be Puerto Ricans to themselves. To themselves, they're still gonna be Puerto Rican. Like, yeah, I'm Puerto Rican. He might be as white as this piece of paper, but he's still gonna say, I'm Puerto Rican. You know?
Yep.
That's the whole thing. Cause they
And
find
that's-
out they're not white, the whites say, well, but I'm Irish, but I'm Scottish. You know?
And that's,
Well, we're American.
So, and
You know.
I want to stay on that same track. So we're different.
Give it up.
We're different, and it seems like every time you turn around and you talk about differences with people or general public, they use that we're different. We're different in a way to say that I'm superior, you're inferior.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of saying I'm different, so what? You're big, I'm small. I still love you. I still got love for you, or I still don't know about you. Help me understand about you. You understand? So right now you have Puerto Ricans who are as white as that paper are saying that Puerto Ricans that are as dark as us are ignorant, or they're using that difference to put them up on the pedestal and to put someone under that. And it's that's the wrong way of thinking, and it's just I feel it's pumped in TV, the media, the music, everywhere you see. It's let me use this difference, even still with racism, like Troop just said. Let me use because I'm black. to say that I'm treated unfair. Like it's not an equal playing field, and
Yeah,
at the end of the
what
day,
that check
you
is
don't
saying.
have to, because through love, it's an equal playing field.
Yeah,
Like I
that-
said, it's about being around good soil. If you want to keep
Yeah.
on playing in bad soil, that's what you're going to produce.
In
Right.
Texas, I don't get that. Them people are just hurting. They don't really care what color they are at the moment. They want lights. They want food.
They want
water.
water. They want the
dry
basic
clothes.
necessities.
Yeah.
They don't care about what color they are. Their naked behinds are shining in the sunlight. They want to cover them up.
Mm.
You know, that's what they need help. The United States government needs to give them help, but it is going to take time. I can't get away from that time. You just can't put
Wash
magic
it.
all over it.
Pixie
It
dust.
doesn't work. They're going to have to open up those roads. They're going to have to dredge out some of those areas so that they can get the truck.
Yeah.
They have to bring in people that can drive the trucks to get to these areas and stuff. You know, it's going to take time. And in the meantime, people are suffering, and that's the sad part. You know, there's no way to just wave your hand and the suffering goes away while the time is being used to make it so that the suffering goes away. It doesn't work like
Mhm.
that.
No, it
But
doesn't.
they are a strong people. They're going to take care of themselves. They're going to survive. It ain't going to be comfortable, but they are a very strong people because they have a culture.
Mm-hmm.
And they know who they are. And that's a powerful thing.
Yeah, they have a history.
Yeah.
Where you have people who have to go to AmericanHeritage.com to see what my blood entails to where
Yeah.
I'm from, and then go read that history of where I'm from. You know, that's the melting pot of America is. If you don't love yourself and believe in yourself, and you want to know what other people think, then you know you're going to
Yeah.
sit there and be lost,
Yeah,
because
they don't put a lot of store on what other people think. They
Nah.
just,
and the relevant topic though is the Vegas shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people wanted to know about that, and it's like, why is mental health? It's all, I swear, everything that goes on nowadays that is negativity on the news and in the media, it's all mental health. It's mental health, mental health, mental health.
So you're saying the media is helping hurt people's mental psyche by bringing all this, tragedy and it's almost like instigating things sometimes that the media does.
Of course.
That it hurts people's
Well, just-
mental stability.
Just think, before social media, all we had was news.
Yeah.
And you think of the news, there wasn't but 4 or 5 major news companies, or,
Yeah.
you know. So, and
Mhm.
their agenda was patriotism. Their agenda was to say, and that's the strategy. If you have the masses scared, then you know what? They're easily persuaded. They're easily to be told, go get bottles of water, go live in a bunker 1,000 feet underground.
Mhm.
They're easily swayed to do something someone tells them when they're scared.
Right.
So that's a strategy that the media used forever, and it's still used to this day. That's why we see so much bad news. We don't see good news. I Google good news, right? I put that in my notifications. I get a notification like once every week
Mm-hmm.
of good news. Are you for real? Good news, yo.
Mm.
You're telling me, all I'm saying is if something good happens in this world, give me a notification. And I get one notification every
Week. Yep.
you know,
So,
I think that the news, there's so much of it now, and I think that the regular domestic type of news that he's talking about, the Channel 5, 4, 25 for
the
us,
ABC,
and
Fox.
they're trying to compete against the social news media, and they're losing.
They can't.
and because they're losing, they're switching over to the sensationalism that the social media likes to throw around and everything. A lot of opinions going on. We're at news right now. It's our opinion that's being thrown out there. Will people like it? Some will, some won't. And they're doing the same thing, except they're doing it on a bigger scale. But they are losing. So, and the people who suffer, we're not getting good news. We're
At
getting
all. There's no real journalism.
Nope.
There's
No.
no real facts. So let's just say the facts that came out about Trump and what he did with the Russia and all that's supposed to be told.
Mhm.
That got so whitewashed because of the natural disasters that happened, that let's just say if there was some facts to that, it is totally brushed under the rug right now. And the mainstream media has helped that agenda go by, because look what we're talking about now. Today we're talking about Vegas. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about something else. We're never focused on one thing. Like we're never staying firm. And the same thing as our beliefs. You know, we have people who are wishy-washy.
Well, you know, we can't really focus on one thing because the world keeps getting smaller every second. That it turns around. It's just becoming a smaller and smaller and smaller place. Because we can instantly, if something happens in Korea, we instantly know about it.
Yep.
You know, something happens in Russia, we instantly know about it. You know, the world's just getting there. Something happens in Worcester, the people in Russia know about it. The world's just getting that small. So to keep up with the thing, some of these news venues, like I think it's MSNBC, they focus on getting rid of Trump or something like that. They're more social liberal. Then you got Fox, who's conservative.
Trump. Yeah. And
So,
then you got CNN, who's kind of playing both sides of both fences.
They're taking sides on all these things like this because they have to at this juncture because the social media. If you want to just hear about social warrior justice and everything, you can easily find a news media on social media someplace. You know, you can find that. Or if you just want to hear about the conservative stuff. If you just want to know about finances, you can find it on there, or you can find it on TV, just about finances itself, about how the money's being controlled. And then the sports. You find that everywhere.
Yo, and for real, you're right. It's becoming so small. He bounced. But on every topic, you're having millions and millions of opinions on every genre of life that there is, from entertainment to money to finances to what is it, social to civil. It's just everybody's opinion, man. We don't even really know the facts. So that's why I say journalism it's not about telling the truth anymore. It's about let me gather the information and let me see how my superiors want me to present this information.
That's But if you want to really get the facts, you got to do the work.
Yep.
You know, you got to go. If you want to know what the state of Worcester is, you're going to have to find out what the politics think. You have to find out where the finances are. You have to find out what the pulse of the people think. You're going to have to find out what's the projected future look like and stuff. There's all where they come from. There's all these things you're going to have to find out to put together, and then you're going to have to make your own decisions.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the hard part. Or you can just say, well, I'm sticking right here with this. You know, I'm not moving over these parts of the stuff. I don't care. I'm gonna stay with this. You know, I think that's I think Worcester's a unique city, but I think what I heard today about the schools, $90 million deficit or something like that.
Yeah, they said that the school the school committee, they had a debate, and all school committee members, potential school committee members, agreed that funding was the biggest issue with Worcester Public Schools, and that they could use about $90 million more to be where they would comfortably like to be in the city as far as a public school system. So that means there's a $90 million deficit that the schools are trying to survive off of in the city of Worcester. And we wonder why there's a lot of schools in Worcester that are struggling.
I can't say that that's true. Our school systems are the way they are because it's intentional to be that way. It's the dropout rate for young black males is still dropping. You know, the way it's intentional.
You mean getting higher or lower?
Lower. It's still dropping. It's what do you mean? It's a percentage of a percent that are graduating from public schools.
Okay.
And then at the end of the day, forget graduating from public school systems. Now, being able to go into entry level college courses after you graduate high school, it's not even a thought anymore. You understand? So it's all about money. The educational system now has become let me be a principal or super school attendant. It ain't about let's get these kids smarter. All of my ideas of equality and no kid left behind, those are just tricknology. Like Nate would say, it's just a trick to keep you thinking that at the end of the day, I dropped my kid off in school, he's supposed to get the best opportunities there. No, that thought is gone. It's not there no more. It's been gone. And now you have people, I give props, to Dante. who think that there is a way to combat a system has been created.
But you know,
To decline. It's been created to decline. It's been created to operate in the red.
Yeah.
Because there's enough opportunity there that if the kid wants to take advantage of that system, it's all there to take advantage of.
You know, there is a way to bring the school system out of where it is, and they're just not following it. From what I think, one of their plans was we need more lawyers. I don't know what a school committee needs lawyers for in the first place, but you know,
Lawyers?
yeah, it's like, are you people saying because they're too old?
Yeah.
Most of them people that sit on that school committee, they're either their mind hasn't turned the corner to be creative in today's world. They're still coming from a world 200 years ago or so. I don't even know where the world come from. They don't have they need to put together an agenda that says this is where I want to bring the school, not we need money and then we can do something to the school. No, this is where I want to bring the school and this is how I'm going to do it. So this is what I need. You don't need lawyers. You need to be able to phone call.
Yeah, need to be able to have an end game, have a bigger picture for where you want the school to be. So, and I shout out my man.
WCW.
I shout out my man from City Hall, Che Anderson, for doing Powwow Worcester. I got a school in my neighborhood,
Yep.
Elm Street Park School, where they beautified the school as far as doing graffiti on
Thank
the
you.
school. Me and my wife walked past it,
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like, oh, I love how it looks, but at the end of the day, it's supposed to be kids are supposed to be going in here getting an education. Beautifying it, yes, look beautiful, and that it just goes with this
Okay.
theory of let me show the outside is
Yeah.
looking good, so maybe you might.
Well,
think
thank you very much,
inside
and we
is
appreciate it.
Yeah, let's polish up
All right,
the
thank
behind.
you.
Let the sun
Let the
shine.
sun-
That's all that is.
Yo, and the
That's
insides is horrible, yo.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's like it's like the pretty girl. You see her from a distance, she's beautiful, body's beautiful, and then you walk up to her, she got missing teeth, a wooden leg. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. It's like inside Elm Street Park School. What's really going on inside?
Yeah.
Why give it so much attention for beautifying the outside when we're talking about one of the worst performing schools in Worcester?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't, you know what I mean? And it's like we don't concentrate on what's going on inside, and let's get inside to a better place.
Well, we just had a caller, and the caller said that he would listen to us 5 days a week if possible. Better than Jim Polito, better than Jordan Levy, and he said that.
Thank you, Carl.
Yep, he said that he was when the Irish came here in the 1800s. They were not able to use the same bathrooms. When they
Yeah.
died, they weren't even allowed to be buried in Worcester. They had to be buried in other places like in Brookfield,
Oh, yeah.
East Brookfield. So,
Yeah,
but he said he loves the show.
He's absolutely, the Irish were brought here pure labor.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only reason they brought him here, that's why he built these buildings that's so close together with the 3-story. They were here, you live in there.
Yep.
Yeah, this is it. They were brought here as pure labor, nothing else but labor. You know?
So he said,
Well, thank you for the call, and
Yeah,
we thank you for the listener, and we're glad you listen. He said he listens every week, so
Oh,
we appreciate it. Thank you, caller.
Do appreciate it.
Yeah, God bless.
Call
So-
the school committee.
Right. So the
Well, they're
outside
even
of
a
the
school
school,
committee.
so they're painting the outside of the school, trying to make it look pretty, and the inside of the school is not
But they don't
living
teach-
up to.
yeah.
What are they, like a level 4 school or something, a level 5?
I don't know. I just know it's underperforming.
Mhm.
I just know nothing's. If you're not changing the system inside, then I don't get it.
Yeah.
So just like Troop talked about the age of the committees from city council to the school committee, they're older people who at the end of the day have no kind of attachment to what's going on now.
Yeah.
They have no attachment. So how can we need to change the landscape?
And that's being amplified because the landscape itself is just changing so fast.
And that's what I'm saying.
You know, it's like, boom.
And the trick of the census is not going to be able to work anymore to say that, okay, yes, let's say I can see easily. Now, you say a lot of these Hispanics who are here legally, once they fill out the Census Bureau and say, all right, you know what, I'm not putting white anymore, then they can't, understand now it's being identified for what it really was. And I thought this several years ago because I felt that it was a trick. for the Census Bureau to get the numbers, because that's the allocation of funds goes by the census.
That's what it's for.
So
It's for
now
the
you
funds.
have people saying that no, I'm not white, I'm Puerto Rican, or I'm other. Then now you have what's being reflected as the city council doesn't reflect the town.
Yeah,
Right.
The school committee don't reflect the population of these kids that are going to the schools.
No,
So
they're reflecting the data off the status, and when the status can point to something to say, well, this is a white neighborhood, so we're going to invest more money into that
neighborhood, yeah.
because they're going to be harder workers and stuff and have the job. And this is a black and minority neighborhood, and we're not going to put the money into that neighborhood. And that's what they're doing with that, a lot of the census, because they don't know the neighborhoods.
No.
They just read it off the piece of paper.
Yep.
And because they got such a long line of things that you can be like this here, then this just makes it easier for them to allocate the money to some place that looks more prosperous and stuff on paper than someplace else. And that's what they did. That's the gentrification that's
Yep.
going on. They're building up all the city eventually, but they put the big building into some place where the taxes are being paid, and that's being looked at through the census white.
Yep. And at the end of the day, 2 years ago, last election was the most funniest joke ever. Is you had the
Top?
debate up in Tacnic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Every councilman showed.
Yep.
Everybody was there. It was a packed house. But then you have something in the city, a debate, and certain council members don't show.
Nope.
And it's just so now it's like smoking mirrors.
Yeah.
Worcester has become the biggest smoking mirrors for people who don't want to be involved and don't necessarily care when they do care. To be like, all right, why isn't my roads fixed?
Mhm.
The roads ain't fixed because you ain't paying attention to what they doing to you.
Nope.
And shouts out to Mike again, because it is a toilet bowl city where they push everything to the central part of the city for a reason.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, you see people who have mental health issues more often than others in this area because of who is representing your area.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
But someone who lives in this area just bought a triple decker, wants to make some money, he's gonna get that picture of, listen, there's a lot of colleges,
Yeah, of course.
rent them rooms out,
Yeah,
send
got
them
theater
apartments out.
district.
Don't worry about them.
And-
They just crazy.
We got dog parks. You can walk the
You
little
can walk the little
dogs.
dog.
Skater parks, bicycle parks.
Yo.
I can't get over the dog. It's like, let's invest all this money in 3 dog parks.
Because that's where the money's at. That's where the money is at.
That's what.
It ain't about
that's-
racism anymore. It's about classism.
It's about dogs. The dog owners wanted to have all these dog parks. Get a big dog.
Yeah, right. Now small dogs are in. Little
Take
dogs
you
are
for
in.
a walk.
Yeah, that's crazy though. But again, it's just sad. But we got to keep positive, like you said, that positive message. We got to start loving something other than ourselves, man. Stop being so selfish. Such a self-centered society that at the end of the day,
You know, I used to have ideas about that and think about that, but it's all right to be selfish as long as you don't lie to yourself.
Mhm.
If you say, yeah, I'm the most selfish person in the world, that's okay. At least you're not lying to yourself, so now you're somebody that can actually do something because you know yourself.
you know yourself.
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
that's
but
what
if
it is.
you're trying to make believe that you're not selfish and you're altruistic and you're doing these things for other people like this, and you know you're not, you're just lying to yourself, and then you're going to put a little itty bitty step forward to try to shadow over that lie, and those things don't work.
Nah, they
Those
don't.
things. So be selfish if you want to.
Know yourself.
But know yourself.
Don't be selfish. I don't. Don't be. Please don't be selfish. Please. We got too much selfishness going on, and that's one of the reasons why we can't even defeat anything. Because everybody wants to be a leader and be selfish about it. We have to learn to work with others and learn to be more giving
Yeah.
and of your time, giving more. Learn to be more giving of your resources. Even though I ain't giving up nothing. Let's.
Well, see, you know yourself. So I'm not
That's-
bad about it. I don't feel any type
Yeah,
of
that-
balance because you know yourself.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, To be selfish, it's not a sin. It's not a crime. It's not something that's it's you. If that's what you are, that's all right. That's quite all right. That doesn't mean that you're selfish 24 hours a day. That doesn't mean that you won't see somebody and extend a helping hand.
Yeah.
It's just that you like to put yourself first. So it's like, well, I'm not getting these new shoes dirty by leaning over in this puddle and pulling this person out the water. I'm not doing that.
So it's like one of them people that you see on the street and you're like, hey, how you doing? They're like, all right, give me your number and I'll call you. And you know they ain't ever gonna call.
They ain't gonna call.
Right.
Yeah,
No.
people don't. Yeah, that's another. I think that's another problem. People are so in this. I think is a northeastern New England problem. We are so into ourselves and what we're going through that we don't have time for other people. They're not like this everywhere else.
No, not even.
Nah, you're right.
Then
My wife thinks the same thing.
What?
She's like, yo, but she's been around the world, so she's like, yo, we go to other places, it's not like this. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Even in this country, it's not like this here. The Northeast is uniquely thinking that they're better than people because they have way too many Ivy League colleges and scholars, and everybody thinks that they're a scholar. And it's like in the other part of the world, everybody thinks that they're a person.
Mhm.
People up here don't think they're people. They think I'm a scholar.
Mhm.
And I know more than you or something. Yeah, but who cares? You know how to cook fish? No.
Right.
So I don't care about you. I'm hungry.
yeah, I ain't got any fish.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming down to the final 2 minutes of the show, Keith. It's good to have you back.
Good
and
to be back, man. Good to be back. And again, like I say, I like to get more of the attention off of the negativity. My deepest condolences go out to the ones who lost their loved ones. I've lost loved ones, so I know how it feels. But we all got to move forward as a people. And I got you in my prayers. And at the end of the day, let's start doing more. It's hard to do.
Mhm.
It's easy to talk.
Mhm.
Hard to do, easy to talk. And at the end of the day, you put God first, you can do anything.
That's right. True.
You want to give a shout out to his lovely bride, Laura. You want to give a shout out to his two scientists, Mason and Max. And they're getting older now, folks. Mason's heavily into science. Max is leaning more towards theater and stuff like that. He likes drama. And
Actor.
He's been in plays and everything.
And the martial arts.
Yeah, Mason's in the martial arts. He just moved up. That keeps them all grounded within the thing. But, and I want to give a shout out to all special ops. Give them a whole lot. Now, I want to give a special shout out to the people in Vegas and the people in Puerto Rico and in Florida and Texas for having to bear the brunt of all that hurricane and stuff like that. And I know y'all strong, and I know that the rest of the country's behind you, if not just the rest of the world's behind you, to trying to make it right. But
Yeah.
let it take time. Don't let this thing turn into some schoolyard second grade game between politicians and stuff.
All
That
right.
ain't going to get people fed.
Yeah.
All right. And happy birthday to Sky.
And Sky's
Yeah,
birthday.
happy birthday to Drew. I'd like to give a shout out to my wife, Darlene, listening. I'd like to give a shout out to, thank you for all the listeners that's been listening. I know
And
I
our
shared real
caller.
quick on Facebook Live.
Yep, and the callers.
The callers.
Texters.
Thank you.
Texters.
Because
Yep.
without y'all, we wouldn't be here. And at the end of the day, I'm real grateful to still see Voice of the Voiceless up and kicking and still the best damn talk show in Worcester. Tell you that much.
All right.
And
I'll holler.
no shout out.